Hey guys, welcome back to We Watch Movie. I am Mike, and today we're reviewing 2017 serial killer film, The Snowman. Why? Because it's trending #1 on Netflix. Why? I have no idea. I don't know why this happens, why random movies just out of nowhere will start trending as the #1 movie on Netflix. But it is fun, and it gives them a second life, and it's fun to talk about them or experience them the first time. It kind of feels like a new release in a way when that happens. So we did this a couple weeks ago with Now You See Me, or Come See About Me, or I don't, the horror movie with Helen Hunt, and I can't remember the name of it. And it was fun to talk about it there while people were experiencing it. And this is a movie I remember when it came out, seeing the trailer for it and being like, that looks awesome. It's not, but it looked awesome. And then when it came out, for some reason, couldn't go see it. And then it just went away because everybody's like, that is a frozen chunk of poopy. And didn't get a chance to experience it for myself until now. And I thought, perfect. Could someone please tell me how in the hairy fuck you can possibly have the director of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy and Let the Right One In, Michael fucking Fassbender, playing a guy named Harry Hole? I swear to God, his name is Harry Hole. And in the sequel, he'll be chasing the new villain, Mike Hunt. Or Captain Long Nipples. I don't know. Rebecca Ferguson, J.K. Simmons, Toby Jones, Chloe Sevigny, and Val Kilmer in a movie. Martin Scorsese as the producer of it. He almost directed it. An apparently super big hit crime book to base it all off of. A score by Scream's Marcos Beltrami. The coolest story ever, where a drunk Michael Fassbender detective is hunting a serial killer who takes the time to leave creepy-ass snowmen facing the direction of which he killed his victims in, and then writes him creepy notes that say things like, "Hello, Mr. Policeman. I watched you get drunk and sleep on the park bench last night," against this gorgeous backdrop of Norway and this whole vibe of a movie that should be like Insomnia or Heat even, or maybe I'm just naming off Al Pacino detectives with demon storylines because she's got a huge ass and you got your head all the way up it. It is not any of those films whatsoever, but it should be. This movie should be Heat. It should be Insomnia. So let's talk about why it wasn't. You notice in the first act, something is just off. I mean, the way people respond and speak to each other in this opening sequence, it's like it was made by AI or fucking aliens or something, trying to pretend they were human, like pod people acting. So this police guy shows up to this cabin in the middle of this, everything's covered in snow. That's just the setting. Everything is just fucking snow. By the way, if that is the way Norway's like road systems and stuff work, I want no part of it. Like every single bridge is scary as fuck and caked in snow and like strapped in on like a thing. I want no part of driving here. And this is kind of explaining the serial killer's backstory in the opening of the film, but it's so confusing just because the way everybody interacts. He starts smacking the mom around. The kid goes outside and he builds a snowman, and then he goes back inside and he looks through the window because he hears what sounds like they're fucking. And I still don't know what's going on because the movie does a terrible job of explaining everything, but the dude's just laying there with his pants off and like moaning and like crying, and he's not, you think he'd be jerking it or something, but he's just laying there on his side, and the kid's mom standing there just staring at the window, sees the kid looking at her and just goes like this, and again the guy's just sitting next to her going, I don't know what the fuck's going on, and she looks at, and then she sees the kid and then tells the guy, she goes, by the way, tomorrow I'm telling your wife that he's your son, and then she's gonna tell everyone else, and then they tell two friends, and then they tell two friends, and then they tell two friends. The kid runs away, and the guy gets up, pulls up his pants and goes, well, you'll never see me again, gets in the car, drives off, and then the mom and the kid tries to stop him, the guy just like smacks the kid off, gets in the car, drives away, the mom chases him, and then all of a sudden the mom just starts staring out the window like it's fucking It Follows or something, goes off the road, drives on top of a frozen pond, the car starts to sink, the kid gets out and he's like, Mom, get the fuck out of the car. She doesn't, she just continues to stare in one direction and just sinks, and she's gone. The mom just lets herself die. Just complete mental breakdown. Really sad for the kid, but weird fucking opening. It is awfully edited. Like every scene, it's so confusing the entire time. It's like just going to your friend's house who just is depressed and he's not cleaning, and there's kitty litter all over the floors, and like you don't know where the toilet paper is. You can't find any cereal that's not expired. That is this plot line. It's just all over the place, like scattered about. This entire movie is as unorganized as a Walmart during tax rebate season, just shit everywhere. And it's because the director said that he was rushed through filming, and he said that there was 10 to 15% of the script they didn't even get filmed, which makes sense. I don't know why you wouldn't just take out certain storylines though, because you can tell it's based on a book with a lot of backdrop to it, because they stop and start so many storylines. Like there's so many characters that come and go. I still don't know what the fuck J.K. Simmons has to do with this movie. There's a whole subplot going on about Oslo trying to get the Olympics, and he's got a prostitution ring, and like, I still don't know what the fuck he had to do with anything. Like, I know what he had to do with it, but like, why go through, I don't know why they went through all the trouble. It could have been so much more simple than that. Val Kilmer, same thing. Like, I'm so confused the entire movie about what he's even doing here. And they do this weird overdub on his voice because, you know, all the awful stuff that he's gone through. He couldn't speak at the time, which is understandable, but what's not understandable is that you do such a terrible job judging his, like, or dubbing his voice. And his story is just random as fuck. Like, he's also a drunk detective, and then Toby Jones is in this movie for some reason, and then he's a detective, but Toby Jones is having a birthday party thrown for him, and Al Pacino gets out of a fucking window and walks onto a roof and is like, fuck this, I'm leaving. I hate birthday parties. They do this whole setup throughout the entire movie. They give all the policemen these, like, they look like the things that you give your kids to play with at Buffalo Wild Wings when you're watching the game, you know, the big like iPads with the thick edges on them, and they've got like a camera on it, and it's sort of a cool idea, but not really, and they use it to record all their interviews when they're looking for missing people and stuff like that, and it just holds all their information in one specific spot, an electronic spot. I don't see how that could go wrong, right? You just fucking drop it, or someone just, hey, I'm the killer. If I take that from you, I guess I'm free to go. But there's a whole subplot with that. They explain it forever just to have it just be this one little moment of, oh, that was fucking it? Seriously? There's one point where they go to investigate a missing person, and it's Chloe Savini, but Chloe Savini's there, and she's chopping heads off a chicken, and then she's like, no, I'm not missing, I'm right here, and they're like, oh, our bad, we'll leave. They get back on the snowy road to nowhere, and then they call in, they're like, hey, this girl's missing again. And they're like, oh, fuck, we better go back, and they go back, and the girl's dead. She's been killed by the Snowman killer, and then all of a sudden, Chloe Savini shows up again. She's like, oh, no, that was my twin sister, and you're like, oh, this must mean something. Nope, they did all that for no fucking reason. There's a whole sub-story line with Michael Fassbender, and like, I think he was addicted to sleeping pills. I don't know. This guy writes him a script for sleeping pills, and then he doesn't take them, but then his ex-wife finds him in the bathroom, and she's like, I can't believe you've done this. And he'll walk up to a bar and just see people partying in a bar, and then the next scene, he's just passed out asleep outside of the bar, so you're like, oh, guess I deduced that he went in there and got fucked up, but I would have liked to have seen that. One of the few good things about the film is just Michael Fassbender is still amazing in it, and he's just a weirdo doing weirdo shit. He's super antisocial, which I love about his character, because it's really funny the way he acts. He's just openly rude to people, and when he goes up to a table after just disappearing from the force for a week and getting fucking shit-faced drunk, he just shows up to a table, and it's got 2 seats at it, and he'll take the other chair and put it at another table before sitting down, as if to be like, nobody fucking sit here. And I have to respect that kind of introvertism. But the storyline is just so confusing and all over the place. Things will happen right in front of you, but everything's so dreary and slow, and then when it picks up pace, you go, wait, whoa, what? What? When the fuck did we get ice cream? No flow to it whatsoever, and it's very confusing trying to figure out what the hell's going on. There's one point where I think 2 different people get their heads blown off, and like, it looks terrible with CGI when the head goes flying off, but it is this cool thing that the killer does where he either takes the head and puts it on a snowman, or he'll take a snowman and put it where the head used to be. But that doesn't work out, because by the time the police find the body, the snowman is melted, so nobody even gets to see it, which is kind of fucking funny if you think about it. Like, congratulations, you did all that for nothing. But there is something really cool and freaky about seeing someone put a snowman head on a body with a severed head. Rebecca Ferguson's really good in the movie, just like Michael Fassbender is, even though they have her doing some terrible ass dialogue. Like, at one point where they start investigating the case, out of nowhere, she'll just be like, you're not going to try and sleep with me, are you? He's like, no. I have no idea why that fucking line was included in the movie. The highlight of the entire thing, the cherry on top of the sundae, he comes home to his apartment and he's having all this mold and stuff cleaned out. So there's these dudes who wear the giant hazmat suits or whatever, and they're cleaning the mold out. But he comes home to his house, and you later find out that this was the serial killer. So this is the serial killer in his house, wearing a hazmat suit, cleaning the walls, and this song is playing, and it's going beep, 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 boop, boop. And he's like, get out of my apartment. It's the weirdest fucking thing I've ever seen. And then mercifully, you get to the end of the film after all of this just all over the place. This stuff about him being a dad, stuff about this fucking story about them trying to get the Olympics in Oslo. You finally get to where shit's actually happening. The killer's revealed to you, and I won't spoil it, although I do not recommend you going and taking the time to watch this movie yourself. I won't tell you who the killer is, but there's this moment where he finds out, and there's this big inset scene, and he goes to chase him, and he chases him out into the middle, and it's like Rocky versus Drago. You expect this awesome ending scene, like they're finally gonna hash it out. Michael Fassbender's screaming, he's like, let's go, I'm fucking ready. And then you think this awesome scene's about to take place, and the motherfucker trips and falls into an ice hole and dies. Not Michael Fassbender, but the fucking bad guy. Like, you're all jacked up, and he's just like, I'm coming to kill you, and then he falls into a fucking hole. Talk about blue balls. Did somebody say dick sickle? There are good things about it, however. Like I said, Michael Fassbender is awesome in the movie. He's really good. The music by Marcos Beltrami, the guy who did the Scream movies, is amazing as you'd expect it to be. The setting is perfect for this kind of movie. That whole Norwegian setting is just like, it's beautiful, but it's also really haunting and sort of depressing at the same time. So it's perfect backdrop for a serial killer movie. One of the reasons that Insomnia was so good is even though that was Alaska, you get the idea. Snow. And the killer had some really cool traits. He had a really messed up backstory, which I dug, and the weapon he would use to kill these people was pretty cool. It was this weird, like, electric strangulation dismember thing, where if he just puts it around you and presses a button, it'll, like, just cut your finger right off smooth, or your head or whatever. So when he would use that, it was pretty freaky, and I like that whole Seven-ish feel to him. And some of the kills were pretty good that he did. Again, the Snowman thing was just creepy. I like that a lot. I like that he wrote little notes to him. Again, reminds me of a movie like Seven or Zodiac or something like that, where he's like, hello, Mr. Policeman, you're an alcoholic. His motive was not great, because he's just kind of like, I hate parents, because my parents sucked, and they did suck, but congratulations, I guess we're all going to be a fucking serial killer. But yeah, that's about it. I cannot remember any movie I've ever seen in my lifetime that had this much going for it and just sucked. Just, I don't remember it. I'm sure that there's one out there. I can't think of it off the top of my head. What's a movie that you guys thought was a sure thing to be a banger and just let you down hardcore? Just had all the pieces in place and just couldn't put them together. This one lands at a 4.5 out of 10 for me. And also, what's your favorite serial killer film of all time? I'm going to go with Seven. David Fincher's Seven. That's my favorite, but there's some great ones out there. I love your all's fucking faces. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Check this out on Netflix if you want to. Come on over and we'll make some soup, beans, and rice. I got some rice cooking in the microwave. Like, who the fuck cooks rice in a microwave, Travis Tritt? Live stream Monday night, Evil Dead Rise. Spoilers. Halloween never ends, suck my fucking dick, and I don't really care what Blumhouse fucking says. Put him in a box, or suck a fucking cock. You can say he's dead, but we all know he's not, yeah. So let's go trick-or-treating, let's go fucking drinking. Let's all go rent Pumpkinhead on VHS, cause Halloween never ends.